What's up, guys? Clavette's Corner is back. I've got a new record out called Something Like This. It's part of a 2-track EP called the Somebody EP with my good buddy BOOGIETRAXX out of Austin, Texas. If you look at this poll right here, you'll see that y'all voted, borrowing a Texan line, y'all voted that Something Like This was your more favorite track. So I thought that would be the one that we open up the hood, get into the project, and I show you how everything was done. So week one, we're gonna do all drums, and I'm gonna kind of shorten this to three different videos instead of the usual 4. And if there's things that I don't cover and don't quite get to, you'd like to hear more, shout out in the comments. Let me know what you want me to cover. I'm trying to think up more ideas for content, and I'd love to make like mini-sodes of these that are maybe a minute long. So let me know if you're new. Please consider subscribing. Please consider sharing. And with that being said, I won't say any more. We'll jump into the project in Ableton. So let's go. What is up? We're back inside of Ableton, and we're going to go through the drums. I'm going to go through it a little differently. I'm going to do all the drums together this time, including the kick. So we'll start right there. Here's the kick. That's 2 different samples, one doing the low end, and I shave all that off, and the other kind of doing the mid-range, the knock, the top end of it. And I don't always do that. It's really just if the sample I'm using doesn't have either quality completely there, if the low end's lacking, if the high end's lacking. I've got different techniques that I'll show you guys in future episodes of this, of how I actually do my kicks nowadays. But to return here, we've got Pro Q3 dipping a little bit out of... I know this looks crazy, but it's not doing that drastic of stuff. So this is all... It's at 3 dB, the entire view. So around 100, I'm taking out about a dB. Around 600, I'm taking out about a dB and a half, almost a half. I'm doing about 3 dB of gain around 2200, and a shelf at around 9000, doing about 2 dB. So it's not a ton, and you can hear that it's not doing a ton. Just kind of controlling some of that low end, around 100, so that the bass can kind of fill that a little bit, and just kind of brightening it a little bit more so that it can cut through. And then I've got the pull tech on here. And that's adding a lot of body, a lot of punch, a lot of low end. Really just adding, it says about 3 dB, but it's, you know, these old analog emulating EQs don't necessarily do exactly that. So it's at level 3 at around 20 hertz, which is adding that really weighty bottom end to the kick. And I'm just taking out a little bit of 500 where I thought it was a little messy. The clap is made up of 3 samples, or 4 samples actually, plus a snare. So I've got this first sample is an 808, another 808, a little shorter. I think it's pitched up a little bit. A kind of more organic sounding pre-shifted clap. So this clap is like the sound is starting a little bit before the 2. So it gives it kind of this swell almost, which is kind of what you would hear in more organic sounding claps. A very wide kind of live sounding clap. And that's you know, your typical 909 snare. And all together, they make this really nice sounding clap to my ear. You guys can tell me if you enjoy that. And there's not too much going on. A little bit of saturation going on. EQ, a little more EQ, I think, here. Getting rid of a lot of that mud in the bottom of this sample. Yeah, the reason I did it on this one just felt really kind of mid-rangey. I think I wanted it. I really wanted to push the top end of that sample. And it wasn't really fitting with some of these other samples. So similar thing on this one. And there's not really much going on in these other samples. So very limited processing in this creative project, because I do a lot of my mixing in Logic. So we've got this snare. So you can hear Decapitator on that snare, really brightening it up. The main thing I'm really doing is just kind of turning the tone a little bit brighter, and T is a little bit of a brighter emulation. It's the brightest one on here I found is E, which I cannot remember what that is emulating. I actually can't remember what, I think A is Ampex with Tape Machine. I can't remember what all these other ones are. T, I think, is a Culture Vulture. Don't quote me on that, but you can look at the manual and it'll tell you exactly what they're emulating. It's a little brighter. I'm driving it a decent amount, but not too much. Then we've got some fills. I love that. I absolutely love that fill. Super organic. It's another drum fill that I just kind of chopped up. Together they sound. And then there's this little drum break that is really only in the breakdowns, I think, just to keep the rhythm going. And there's not really much going on any of these. There's a little bit of filtering that goes on that one. And then we're in the hats. And those sound like this. So, you know, my typical process is I love layering hats. I'll layer the open hat. I'll layer different rhythms to just give it just a different taste. I like really kind of complex rhythms. Maybe not even complex. I just like layering drums up and kind of getting my own sounds out of them. It's kind of my way of making my own sound, I guess. So this first hat, classic 909 hat, just a little bit of EQ. This is Neutron Transient Shaper. So if I just kind of boosting the top end a little bit. And then I shifted it down. I'm not sure why I used Sound Shifter. It might have been, I could have just pitched this down. I'm not sure why I did that. A more organic sounding hat, a more live sounding kit. Hard left. Hard right. Very synthetic. And that's kind of the open hat sound. And then kind of in between those hits, we have a closed hat. Another closed hat, so you can hear that. So it kind of gives it a shuffle. And then a closed hat loop. And then the final part of the hats is the top loop here. Love that part, that ooh. So this one is just got so much character, and I felt when I added that, it really just completed the rhythm. It's also got a lot of percussion in it. So it just kind of made my life a lot easier. Then I've got these two different rides. Just your classic 909 ride, and those are, it's the same sample pitched down on one of the channels, hard panned left and right to kind of widen the sound and get it really wide. That sounds like this. And then the only other things in here that are kind of part of the rhythm section are the tambourine, the shaker, and then we have my reverse cymbal that I use in almost every track, a crash, and that completes pretty much the whole drum sound. So that sounds like this. Hey guys, so thanks for watching this week on Clavette's Corner. I'm going to ask one more time here at the end of the video. If you're new and you aren't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment. If you're watching on Instagram, please consider the same, but maybe try sharing it to your Instagram stories. Send it to a friend who may get something out of this. I can't tell you enough how much those comments mean. And if there's something I didn't cover that you want to hear, shout me out in the comments and let me know, and I'll make some shorter form content for you guys. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.